The sensor's usually in the front, so you can see if both sides of it are activated. These probably aren't the best to be using right now. Oh no, maybe it is on. Maybe simple stop is on. Yeah, I think simple stop is on. So squirrely. I definitely see that they mentioned it's squirrely. It does seem to be fully aired up, which is going to make it more carvable. That's why my ankles are flipping out right now. Yeah, that simple stop is definitely going to be helpful at first. Very intimidating. It's definitely not a toy. I understand now what they're talking about when they say it's not a toy. Let's do a quick test here. Okay, that's obviously not enough force. You can see the LED on one side activates these 3 white dots here. Divide the sensor for you so you can have an idea of where the sensors are. So that's that one, and that's that one. You can see there. So it definitely is responsive. I mean, obviously it's not going to respond to just a little touch. You have to have a little bit of force, which is good. That's good. You don't want it to be too sensitive and have it going all over the place with nothing on it. Very cool. All right, so I'm gonna start slapping my accessories on, and then I'll charge it up, and we'll go for our first ride. Got my little tool here from back when I used to work at Guntech USA, making AR parts. Bumper kit, olive green fender, very cool. So one bumper and another bumper, cool. So I have my olive green bumpers, the olive green fender, and I bought a plug, which they gave me a red plug. I'm not gonna complain. I asked for a green one. My order shows a green one, but I mean, what can you do? I was waiting for this thing for a long time though. I was having issues ordering. I probably placed like 5 or 6 orders because they kept having issues with their Shopify system. For whatever reason, at first it kept flagging my account as fraudulent. So I ended up trying 3 different email addresses before it finally went through. So I've been trying since the beginning of April. It is now the 20th. And I did pay for overnight shipping. So yeah, needless to say, I've been waiting and very excited now that it's here. Oh, that's really good. Okay, you can All right. So, there it is. Now I'm looking at bumper instructions. Because I had a feeling it was going to take me longer than it should have, and it absolutely did. It took me quite a while. But just about done here. I got all of my protective parts installed. I had the typical issue. So my one complaint, this is my one complaint, okay? When you go to install the main bumper on this thing, the holes don't align, okay? And I thought maybe, you know, I'll hang on to it. Maybe eventually along the line I'll sand it down and make it fit right. But the factory bumper that it comes with, when you go to put it back in, you can see that they really they had to jam it in there real good to get this to align and for them to install it. I was wondering why. I noticed there was much more tension on the screws when I was taking this bumper off. I was like, that's kind of weird. So that's why. It really jammed the sucker in there. So the holes don't align, and a lot of people are drilling it. I looked up videos. People are just using a Dremel or a drill tool and drilling the holes out to get it to line up. You shouldn't have to do that with a brand new product, especially when you're buying the accessories from the company. They're not third-party accessories. Yeah, that's a huge complaint of mine. Other than that, great product. But yeah, Onewheel, you guys gotta fix those bumpers. I mean, it's a simple fix. You gotta remove about 1 millimeter or 2 from the plastic. It's a simple fix, and nobody will complain about that anymore. But yeah, thank you Craft and Ride. Thank you Future Motion. What's going on, guys? All right, well, finally, you know, a couple hours later, got everything nice and snug. I did have to modify the rail guards, which I knew I was going to have to do already. I was kind of expecting that because they are supposed to wrap around the bottom of the board. But I have the float plate hooked up to it, and so that pretty much made it so that it's not going to be able to wrap around the bottom. So I just trimmed it. It's not a big deal to me. I know I'm going to end up having to replace them as they peel off anyway, but it's there, and it's going to protect the board. It's going to do what it needs to, so happy about that. Just spin you guys around. So yeah, it's charging up now. I really like it. I love it, actually. I'm very disappointed that the bumpers didn't line up. Even more disappointed that the original bumper was obviously forced. Sorry, it was obviously forced in. You know, they Future Motion obviously had to force it in there to get those holes to line up, because when I tried to put the original bumper back in, they didn't fit. And the bumpers I purchased are from Future Motion. They're not, like I mentioned earlier, they're not third-party accessories. The only third-party accessory that I have is the float plate for the underside, which that doesn't have anything to do with the bumper, because the float plate holes are actually very well aligned. However, the bumper did not align. So yeah, I am done. I'm a little tired. I want to mention my first impression. So very excited to get good at it. I will say it is incredibly intimidating at first. Much props, much kudos to all the people who are out there tearing it up on them, and same thing for the kids, because I've seen a lot of people have gotten their children one, a lot of the YouTubers who have kids, and they tear it up too. They ride solid, much better than I did on my first try. I rode around, so I have some tools out because I needed to find a razor blade. But I rode around my apartment a little bit, pushed everything back so I could have some space. And yeah, it's scary. It's scary at first. I mean, I'm sure I would have did better if I had shoes on, because I would have had more surface area on the foot pad. But I really wanted to like get a feel for it and just ride barefoot first time. So yeah, it's definitely intimidating.